In this video, you'll be learning about this topic.
All right, so Jeff, I want to just start off. I sent you a text this morning, and you immediately acted on what I sent you. I'm kind of curious your thoughts. So it was a Jack Mallers interview, and I wasn't real familiar with Jack. I've seen him on Twitter. I've seen a lot of people talk about how smart he is and how he's a huge contributor to the space. But to be honest with you, I just didn't really even know what he was working on. And I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts on Jack and what you listened to this morning.
Yeah, I thought the whole Lightning Network and how fast that's developing and is using Bitcoin as kind of the second tier of payments and everything else. And I think before we can go into that, I'm surprised at how much innovation is actually moving into the space. You know, because I have a piece coming out pretty soon that you read as well. You can project all of the innovation going forward, but even with realizing how much innovation is moving to Bitcoin, some of those things, how fast it's moving, it shocks you.
I was listening to it and I was just like, this is totally nuts what he's doing. And when we're doing all these interviews right now, we're all really kind of hyper-focused on store of value, protecting the meltdown of fiat currency, but we're not really talking about actually utilizing Bitcoin in a transactional kind of way by going and paying for stuff at Target or wherever. And after I listened to this conversation with Jack and what he's building, he's way beyond the store of value piece. And now he's into the transactional piece and doing it with no friction at all. And it's instantaneous. I mean, I was just blown away at what I was listening to. It's just insane.
Yeah. And I think there's a bunch of debate in the Bitcoin community. Is it a store of value first, or will it move into the greater economy? And Jack's working on moving it into the greater economy. And Bitcoin right now is more of a store of value. So depending on government's reactions and what happens kind of at a bigger picture, you can see all of the next steps that are going to happen in Bitcoin. If you look at the entire existing system and what the existing system has to do to protect itself or adopt Bitcoin, you can see all of the next moves.
It's just wild. It's like watching a sculptor, you know, when they start off with a big giant hunk of rock, they're not there sculpting out the nuances of the nose. They're knocking off all the big pieces, and then they're gradually getting it down to what you see as this finished piece of art and work. And when you look at what's happening, I think that a lot of the arguments that we hear as to whether it's a store of value, whether it's a payment, I think the community is naturally knocking off the big chunks first. It's just naturally happening. It's not like it needs to be decided. We're collectively, as a society, as a human race, just knocking off the large chunks that are the most important to solve the problem.
Let's look at this and explore kind of this paper that I have coming out pretty soon. Let's talk about it from what a business looks like. So in starting a business, and I've seen tons of startups and successful and across the board. And I think to the general audience, most people think a startup that is successful tackles a giant problem that's really wide and goes after everything that a monopoly goes after. And I can tell you it doesn't look that way at all. It looks exactly the opposite. It looks like the startup might have intention of going after everything, but they typically start in something so narrow that everybody dismisses that. So if you look at it in kind of when you're raising capital, a 10x advantage, 10 times advantage in a narrow space that people dismiss. And when I look at Bitcoin as a store of value against gold, that's what I see. It's a 10x advantage against gold as a store of value that was dismissed, not by the Bitcoin community. And if Bitcoin said early on or tried to compete it everywhere, it would have got shut down. Right? People would have tried to shut it down earlier. And now that it's moving so fast in that range and the network effect on it, now it can broaden. What you're talking about, kind of what Jack's talking about, is the next broadening. You have to win the first hill first. And I use this example. Tesla started at the Roadster with broad ambitions, but if they tried to do all cars, they would have been killed. Monopolies would have killed them, the amount of capital that they would have needed. Amazon started at books. Google started at free search before you could monetize search. All of the successful companies that go up and win against monopolies start in a narrow spot. It doesn't mean that they're going to win, but it gives them an outsized advantage. If they have a 10x advantage in a narrow market, then a lot of people talk about it. A lot of people adopt. And that's what's happened to Bitcoin, as a store of value first. And as it's moving as a better store of value, by the way, I don't think anything can stop it now from being the best store of value. And then it's a logical next step to do all the rest, right? But we don't need to get over our skis on all the rest. It's just a function of a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of entrepreneurial talent doing what Jack Mallers doing, what Square is doing, everything else, realizing, wow, once this starts hitting, everything else is easier to build to those roads.
And I just wonder how many other people out there are like Jack that are building something that isn't even on my radar or anybody else's radar. It's mind blowing. The part for me at the end of the discussion I was listening to, and he was talking about MasterCard and Visa and how they're getting their 2.9%, or what businesses basically have to cough up for their costs for clearance is really what it is. It's a cost to ensure clearance plus whatever profits being made. And I mean, when you look at what he's doing on Lightning and it basically makes that go to zero, it was just this mind-blowing moment for me. Like, you get immediate clearance, you take the cost to settle down to nothing. I mean, it's just mind-blowing.
By the way, that's why Square grew so fast. Square, instead of focusing on the big businesses that Visa was after, Square worked on lowering the cost so much. That's how innovation works. It typically starts at the bottom where the technology lowers the cost so much that nobody else cares about that market because they can't make margin out of it. And so a lot of entrepreneurs focus on essentially democratizing something through that piece, lowering the cost so much that they can open up a new market. And then by opening up that new market and they advance that, they attack the bigger market from the bottom up.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the next podcast episode and new investing resources.
What are your takeaways and thoughts on this discussion? Let us know in the comments section below.